And now. He'll think about it over a sip of Earl Grey tea, then respond. It'll be either the most thoughtful answer you can imagine, one that feels as though he's prepared for it, and he very likely has, or utterly dismissive, disappointing, because I want to know more, because I expect more, or at least something different. You know, he said to me recently, you can't tell my story from my perspective. This is your story. Even if it's about me, it has to be that way. His story, my story. I'm not sure it's that simple. It's our story. And whether it's about a time in his life or a time in mine, what I want, what I've always wanted, is to figure out how his life, my life, and our relationship have shaped who I am. Time has moved quickly for me as well as for Dad. I notice this when we talk. Sometimes it feels like looking at him is another sort of mirror altogether. Not just because we walk the same or laugh the same. I see in him the things I want to be at the age of 82 and things I do not want to be because of the choices I think he made and how they affected me, even though I can't, even though I wouldn't, change what has happened. That's confusing for me, but it's a reality I've come to accept, even embrace. From what I understand, Dad, a broad-shouldered, tall Cree, and Mom, English, Irish, and Scottish, with a beautiful smile and flowing brown hair, chose not to raise me and my brothers as Cree to keep us from the difficulties they thought we might face growing up in Winnipeg as First Nations kids. I don't think Cam and Mike even knew they were Indigenous. I certainly didn't, and we never talked about it. Not with Mom and Dad, not with each other. What do you regret most? I once asked Dad in the car on the way home from an afternoon at our local golf course. That I didn't teach you the language, he responded, which I interpreted as, I didn't teach you about who you are. There are times when I catch myself staring at him and comparing the Dad I have in my life now with the other versions I knew growing up, if I knew him at all. His job was always a mystery, and I never asked about it. So, too, was his home community, Norway House. I didn't hear about it until I was a teenager. When I spent time with him, I was just happy to see him. We didn't have the kind of talks then that we do now. We used to golf on the weekends. We used to go to movies. But I never thought he'd be the best man at my wedding. I never thought he'd sit with me over coffee and answer all the dizzying questions I threw his way, mindfully stirring sweetener into his tea, thinking of things to say to satisfy my curiosity, expected or unexpected, disappointing or mundane. I watch his veins shift with each movement of his hand, the protruding tendons dance under his weathered brown skin. I watch his hand and think about his life, and the lives of those who came before him. About my paternal grandmother, Sarah Robertson. I called her Nana. That's one of the only things I can remember about my grandmother, what I called her. The rest of my memories of her are just images. She's sitting in the kitchen, in her house somewhere off Osborne Street, wearing a flowered dress, her arms outstretched and ready to receive me, ready for me to run across the room and collide with her. It's like she's a dream I had once. Dad and I haven't yet started our dance of questions and answers today. Since he knocked on my office window and we ambled over to the cafe, we've talked about the weather, how Mom's doing, how my kids are doing, how he's doing, how I'm doing. He's wearing navy blue slacks that work hard to hide the boniness of his legs but fail, hush puppies on his feet, a white t-shirt underneath a black v-neck sweater, a fall jacket even though it's late summer. He gets cold easily. He looks contemplative. His eyes are narrowed, eyebrows collapsed, sending wrinkles across his forehead. When his eyebrows are relaxed, the lines remain. I have those too, like him. What are you thinking? I take a sip of coffee, then place it back onto the table. We meet eyes. There's 4 feet of air between us. We're in the least intimate setting, but I've never felt closer to him. He's absently playing with the lid of his tea.